Hello, everybody. Welcome to Miss Valley Entertainment News. My name is Dread. Today, we're going to get into some topics. Oftentimes, there are topics that, as fully functioning adults, we would rather not touch. They're just not comfortable topics. And it's not that we don't have opinions on them, it's just we'd rather not get into conversations about them. But sometimes even here on this channel, we take a look at these things and we pull them into the light because others are talking about them, and we want to stand up and have our voice heard and give you a chance if you desire to have your voice heard on this as well. So we're going to be jumping into an Asmongold video here from his Asmongold TV channel called "The Problem with Mod Websites." So we're going to be covering two topics that are kind of merged together here. One is mod websites who decide to take down certain mods, whether or not that's right or wrong, and that's one thing. The other thing we're going to get into, though, is we're getting into it because Asmongold has brought it up, and he's got some opinions that are worth looking at here, and some discussions happening that are worth looking at. So the other thing we're going to get into through this video, taking a look at this, is a discussion about the sexualization of minors. And that's where the conversation gets uncomfortable for a great many people. Most of us don't even like to think about that. We know it happens, but we don't like to think about it. A lot of us are parents, and we can't imagine somebody viewing our child that way. A lot of us maybe watching this aren't parents, but you're going to be someday. And you've grown up in a family unit and you understand the whole concept of this is a bad thing. And then there's others out there. There are others out there who think that is totally okay. In fact, they're for it. And it's hard for me even to think about those people because their concepts of right and wrong are so far different than mine that I can't even believe they exist. So yes, some hard topics coming up and some strange discussions. But I hope you'll bear with me through this. And if nothing else, give it a listen. If you don't want to give your opinion, you certainly don't have to. I'm going to be giving mine. As always, I'm going to try to be careful. I'm Canadian. I don't want to offend people. Most of the time, I don't want to offend people. But I'm gonna strike some nerves with this one. I know I am. Asmongold had the same issue when he started discussing this, as you'll see. So let's get into this, and I will for sure be giving my reactions and my responses to what goes on. Let's go. Turn my headphones up a little bit so I can hear this properly. Let's go.
There's been a lot of conversation for I'd say the past 6 months or 1 year or so. And it's been about how these mod websites, they're playing this editor role where they constantly focus on trying to moderate which mods are acceptable and which mods are not acceptable. And this has been a really big problem, in my opinion, because these moderation websites.
Now, some of you may think, well, they're allowed to. They're allowed to choose what goes up there and what doesn't. That's true. That's absolutely true. But there's a bigger picture to that. When you start to ban certain things from your website and you start to draw certain lines and say, nope, this is a line we're going to take a stand on this one. People are automatically going to rush over and say, well, what about this? Why is this not across your line? This is where you open up the whole can of worms. Here we go.
Are not acceptable. And this has been a really big problem, in my opinion, because these moderation websites have kind of arbitrary rules. Nexus Mods is the worst offender. So I'll explain what this is here. So Nexus Mods banned a harmless mod that deleted the modern audience triggering message in Tomb Raider 1 to 3 Remaster. Keep in mind that no Latin American really cared about this message or the game depiction. It was all in a virtual setting. So I'm going to go ahead and look at it. And remove.
It didn't say virtual setting. It did not say virtual setting. It didn't say it was all in a virtual setting. It says it was all virtue signaling, virtual signaling. I think they meant virtue. I think they got autocorrected there. Virtue signaling. And if you don't know what that means, chances are, if you're over 10, you do.
I'm going to go ahead and look at it. And remove misinformative warning. And this game is a collection of offensive depictions of people and cultures rooted in racial and ethnic prejudices. These stereotypes are deeply harmful and inexcusable and do not align with our values at Crystal Dynamics. Rather than removing this content, we've chosen to present it here in its original form, unaltered, in the hopes that we may acknowledge its harmful impact and learn from it. So basically, somebody installed a mod in order to remove this, and Nexus Mods removed that mod.
Now, first thing I want to say on this is I've heard about this this warning being added into the Tomb Raider remaster of Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3. So back when Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 came out, can somebody please point me to the articles that prove that there was a large outcry of people, a large mass of people who came forward and said, whoa, this game, these 3 games are so offensive to us. I'm waiting. Where's my link? And I don't mean you people, but I mean anybody in general. Where is the link to the people that when these 3 games came out, stood up and said, good golly, these games are so racist. These games are so harmful. How could you put this out? And yet the devs behind it laughed and said, we don't care about you and your race. We're putting out this game anyways. Let it shit all over you. That didn't happen. Okay, that plain old didn't happen. It's never been seen. It's never been witnessed. It did not occur. If it didn't occur, then why many, many, many years later are we putting out a warning that the game is hurtful and racist? Now, don't mind me. I haven't gone and played these games, so I can't tell you specifically what they're referring to. Of course, they never list specifically what they're referring to either, okay? But I'm saying if there was no outcry when these games came out, there was nobody out there, a big group demanding the games be pulled, demanding the games get changed, saying, hey, what is going on here? These games are racist. These games are hurtful to our society, blah, 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 blah. If that didn't happen, and I've seen no signs and no proof that it ever did, how are we judging it years later and saying it's racist? Are we judging it now through today's culture? That's the first thing. Because I thought we were just remastering the games. Literally not changing the games except to update the graphics. That's all they did. And add a warning. It's like they want everybody playing these 3 versions of the game instead of the original versions, so that everybody who plays it can be called racist. Am I wrong? Am I reaching here? Doesn't it kind of feel like it's just people want to point fingers and say, this is wrong, this is bad. If you're white, this is terrible. How dare you? And again, I haven't played the game, so I don't know. Maybe I would play the games and find some things in that are really hideous. I don't know. But I'm saying adding this warning seems like a lot of virtue signaling. It seems like a whole lot of we want to jump on the bandwagon of white is bad. White people take something from another culture in a video game. That's bad. I don't know. Does Lara Croft, is she not like Indiana Jones? Does she not take the stuff and put it in a museum? I don't know the answer to that, but I'm thinking she probably does. She doesn't just have her house full of it and she's like rolling around in the priceless treasures, right? She probably puts it in a museum for everyone to enjoy. I don't know, man. When people go and dig up a grave, they call it grave robbers. But if you go do it, with a team of archaeologists, it's called archaeology. We're splitting hairs here, right? I don't know, man. I just, I'm talking a lot. Let's let Asmongold talk some for a bit.
This is what I think.
Oh, why?
I think that a lot of the characters in Genshin Impact look like teenagers. And I think the majority of them look like teenagers that are underage, too.
I don't play
like a 15-year-old.
Don't know.
I think a lot of them do. It's pretty common. So whenever I see somebody removing a mod, like a what do you call it? Like a message for like a trigger warning, basically. What that does is that creates kind of like that's like a line, right? Like that clearly, that's what's over the line for them. So what they're saying then is that it's okay to portray characters that look like minors in ways that are sexual.
Oh boy.
But it's not okay to have this. I think that's a problem. I do. I really think that's weird.
That is.
Nexus mods don't do that.
Sure they do.
Oh, of course they do.
Sure they do.
Absolutely they do. What are you talking about?
And if you're just talking about mod sites in general, we all know that there's mod sites out there. I mean, there's one that goes by the acronym LL, and most of you out there, if you've ever modded Skyrim, even if you've never really hung out there, will know what that stands for. There are some extremely spicy mods there, and there were mods on there that a lot of society would call extremely controversial, and many in society would call extremely disturbing. Let's be blunt and honest here. Everybody who now uses that site is going to rush to defend it. Hold on. I'm telling you, a lot of people in society would find a lot of those mods controversial, and some of them would find them deeply, seriously offensive and disturbing. I think that's just fact. So it's not just this one site, not just Nexus Mods. That's the issue here, but we are talking Nexus Mods because it is the most popular, I do believe, of the modding sites.
Isn't Nexus Mods the same mods for Final Fantasy to be NSFW? Oh yeah, Nexus Mods does block nude mods for Hogwarts Legacy because of the age thing? Oh sure, but they have...
Damn, there's new mods for Hogwarts Legacy. I gotta admit, when I bought Hogwarts Legacy, I looked through the mods. And I didn't really play with any. I did very, very briefly play with a couple mods. They made no difference. When I decided to start doing a playthrough of it, I did just go through and look at all the mods on there, and I was actually like, wow, I'm surprised there's no nude mod. And then I was like, oh, wait. It's a school of teenagers. Oh, that would be extremely wrong. Then I started thinking, oh man, there's a lot of mods that might be considered somewhat acceptable for Skyrim type games you could not use in Hogwarts Legacy without being extremely fucking creepy. And I will give my opinion right here, right now. If you're playing Hogwarts Legacy, which is a game with a school full of children, sorry, small piece of my dinner left over there. And if you are using mods that sexualize those children in any way, you are a sick, fucking twisted bastard and you need help. That's my opinion. I would hope many people listening right here would agree with that.
Have other things that allow people to sexualize minor characters. Which, I'm sorry, it's like, I think that's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah.
I do. And a lot of these modding websites, because that's one of the biggest reasons why people download mods, is that they're picking and choosing as to whether, like, what they think is okay and what they think isn't okay. I think this is incredibly fucking annoying to me, that these mod websites are trying to pick and choose and decide which things meet their expectations. And I think they're stupid for making the decision. I think they're...
Because I think a lot of the stuff they let slip through is disgusting to a lot of people. So they're trying to hold the moral high ground, and it's actually not working for them. Because you start looking at the mods on the sites, your moral opinions of them slide very quickly, very fucking quickly.
They're making the wrong decisions. Now, they clearly can do whatever they want to do. I'm not debating whether they can do it or not. Of course they can do it.
They have the right to do whatever they want on their site.
I can also have an opinion on what they're doing. Would you say they allow all mods?
I would say allow all mods with the caveat of make it an adult site. Then you would have to. If you're going to allow all mods, then you have to have right up as soon as you go to the site. It's a big screen saying you must be 18 plus to enter and or download any mods or sign up for this site or anything else. Please check that you are over 18. Then go ahead and allow whatever mod you want. If you want to be a mod where you want to be a Nazi and kill Jews, I mean, that's fucking disgusting. But if that's what you want, and somebody makes the mod and puts it up on the site, then let it be there. You put up your warning. People know you're gonna get stuff that not everyone's gonna like, right? You want to go around and torture animals in your game? I guess if somebody makes the mod, you can do it. I'm having feelings about these things. I'm having feelings. I'm having opinions. But what you choose to do, if the ability to do it is there, is your choice. But when the mod site makes a choice and says, no, we have to leave up this warning that calls everybody who's white a racist, so that the white people can understand how racist they all are and how bad they are, which in itself is a racist statement, because not everybody in one race is one thing or another. That's stupid. That would be the equivalent of me saying all black people are stupid. Clearly, that would be a racist statement. Or I don't know. Whatever. I don't even know. I don't even know why I chose black people as stupid. I could have chose Asian people are I don't know, tall. That doesn't make any sense. But you see what I'm saying? Just throw a fallacy in there about one race and say a blanket covers everybody. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. People are all different. Regardless of race, they're all different anyways. Hell, you can have two people who are identical twins. They're different people still. Can't just blanket say white people are racist. And that's, again, the warning doesn't say that, but it's implying that because that's the new thing now. That's the new popular thing here, is that everything that's wrong is a fault of white people and men. Am I wrong? That is what society has now begun to push. It's been happening for a while, and the push is getting louder and stronger. Everything that's wrong with society is white people, men, straight men especially. And if you're a straight male and a white Christian, oh my God, we should kill you right now, because you are everything that is wrong with society, and you will never be any better than you are. You're the worst of society. And that's where all this virtue signaling and all this name calling and all this racism comes out. And it's kind of sick. It's not even kind of sick. It's sick. And I mean it in the way that people who do it are sick. They have something broken in their head. They are sick. The same as you or I would say, somebody who wanders around in the South of America, South of America, the American South, for instance, wanders around and says, "Yeah, we should lynch us some black people." Right? You or I, most 99.99999% of people in the world will look at that and go, "That's fucking sick. That person needs to get help." Well, in the same way, the people trying to say that white, straight, Christian males are the problem with the world also need to get help. I don't know where I'm going with this, people. I'm talking a lot because I have a lot of opinions on this shit. And Asmongold has stirred up a lot of shit with this. Let's get it back into what he's talking about.
Would I say to allow all mods? I think that you should allow all mods except for the ones that sexualize minor characters.
That's the line he takes.
I do draw the line there.
And I believe if I'm drawing a line, that is definitely on the wrong side of the line. Yeah, big time.
I'm going to be honest, I do. And I know some people might be unhappy about that.
Too fucking bad.
But I that's the line. Racist mods?
If you're unhappy with anybody saying that sexualizing children in a mod is wrong, go fuck yourself. Please don't watch my channel. We don't want you here. Fuck off.
People can be racist all they want. Do you think that racism is on the same level as sexualizing minors? Because I don't think it is. I don't even think it's remotely close. I can't imagine
I would guess it depends what your racism is having you do. If it's just like somebody has some opinions of races that are based upon, obviously misinformation and saying everybody in a race is something, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think you can have some racist opinions. I think, how do I say this? I often wonder if there's anyone on the planet who doesn't have a racist opinion from time to time. I like to think I'm very, very accepting of people and I don't judge them on their race, but occasionally I have a racist opinion go through my head. It happens. And I certainly know when someone who's not white blames white people for everything, they have a racist opinion of whites. So I'm thinking that if you're out there in the world, you're alive today, and you're doing anything that involves you having contact with people outside of your own race. So you're not in a tribe somewhere in the jungle, in which case you're not going to have internet, you're not going to be watching this. Tribe somewhere in the jungle that only associates with itself kind of thing, right? If you see and interact with other races in any way, chances are you're going to have some thoughts and opinions about them based on race, that would be considered racist, obviously. I think everybody can and does have those at times. I think thinking about those kind of thoughts and dwelling on them and saying, yeah, they're totally right. That's where you become a racist. But I think having an occasional thought and then being like, no, that's stupid. That's not right. That was just in the heat of anger. Or that was, what kind of stupid thought was that? That's not being racist. But I think everybody can have a racist thought. So different levels of racism is what I'm trying to say. Again, if you're a racist who wants to go and kill people of other races, or you want to put all the other races down and say your race is the best and those kind of things, that's pretty terrible. That's pretty fucking terrible. But sexualizing children, still a step below that in the gutter.
thinking that it is. They don't allow nude mods for minors, though? Well, it's sexualizing the character, right? I mean, like, I'm talking about sexualizing the character is just because it's not a nude mod doesn't mean that it's not sexualizing the character. It's just...
If you're putting your character into sexual or sexy situations or having them say sexual or sexy things and they're a minor, if you're, showing love interests and love stories that involve a minor, you're getting into a really iffy situation unless your character is a minor. But then if you're playing that character as an adult, that's still very iffy. Just shouldn't happen. We should not think about people who are under the age of adulthood in that manner. Period. And we know in all of our societies, it happens. And far, far worse things than just thinking about it happen.
Like, what are we talking about here? It's 60-40. They definitely are. Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. I get it. It's like this is also, I want to make sure this is very clear, that this is not an actual opinion that people have, and this isn't a distinction that people really have in real life. If somebody was asking a 12-year-old girl to dress like this in real life, you would want them put in jail, right? I mean, like, if they were asking...
I'd want to put a fucking bullet in them is what I want to do.
Your daughter to dress like this, you would want them put in jail. So anybody saying that this not that big of a deal, if you actually apply this logic to real life, it immediately falls apart. This is internet logic. It's not real. Because in real life, everybody knows this is fucking creepy, weird, and disgusting. But for some reason, people like to pretend and act stupid whenever it's not like that.
And now we get into people who are going to, on his stream, who are going to jump in and say, no, it's totally all right to sexualize children. It's just pretend. It's fine. What the fuck? So if you're thinking that's okay, I'm going to say one of two things is happening. Either the people standing up for this on Asmon's stream are children themselves and just don't understand adult concepts. And we can go back into Asmon Gold. I did a video on where he supported the Florida law saying that, people under the age of, I believe, 16 shouldn't be allowed to be involved in chat rooms and be on the internet and be on Discord and everything else. Because you don't know when you're talking to a child, or you can't keep a child safe from predators out there. So I believe it's one possibility if you're standing up for this kind of crap and trying to say, no, it's fine, as long as it's on the internet, as long as it's make-believe, is you're a child and you don't understand the repercussions of this because you're not an adult. Here's where I'm going to poke some people, and I'm hoping I'm not poking a lot of people who are watching this video. I hope a lot of people who watch this video are not involved with these kind of things. But the other thing is, if you're standing up for the ability to sexualize minors through a mod because it's not real life, so it's fine, you are probably a child predator, or you're on your way to becoming one. There was an acronym that went around when I was learning computers back in the 80s. It was garbage in, garbage out. And I like to apply it to life, because if you put garbage into your life and you focus on that garbage, your life is going to give out that garbage. People are going to say, but Dread, you could get involved in lots of games where you kill things and you don't want to go out and kill stuff. True. That may be true, people, but think about the other side of that. If you have something not quite right in your brain that may lead to you actually murdering people, and God knows, look at all the shootings that happen, all the murders that happen. There's a lot of people with this wrong in their brain. There is a lot of people with this wrong in their brain. Okay? If you then take those people and submit them to a bunch of movies where there's nothing but random shooting and people just dying all over the place, blood and gore and guts, people being beheaded, and they're cheering it, yeah, you do the same thing with their video games. You start to just get them focusing on that. That is going to feed the beast. They're going to be more likely to go that route in real life. Now, if you have no issues whatsoever with your brain and you just happen to enjoy violence, it may never manifest in any way in real life. That's absolutely true. But I'm saying, look at all the people who do shootings and murders and stabbings and other types of killings all across the globe. Not talking so much about people who are involved in wars or actually fighting as soldiers, because that's a job. But I'm talking about people who just go out and randomly kill people on the streets. You do argue with somebody, you think it's okay to kill them. Have an argument with their lover, I think that means it's okay to kill them. Something not quite right upstairs with a lot of these people. And I'm saying the percentages of people like this who don't have that something right with them, who that would allow them to kill others, is a lot greater than we like to think about. And feeding that through pretend online stuff will bring that out. More likely to bring that out. So in the same way, if you've got an issue with how you view underage children, the last thing you should be doing is feeding that in any way, shape, or form. And if you enjoy watching something or engaging in something that sexualizes children in any way, even though it's not a quote-unquote real child, then you do have something wrong with you. And you should seek help. I can't be any more plain than that. I can't be any more real than that. So these people who are going to argue with Asmund here and say, but it's just pretend, it's nothing wrong with it. They're either children who don't understand adult concepts, or they are child predators, or they are well on their way to being a child predator. End of story.
That on here. And so they did remove this. They said that the mod violated our rules on indecent content because the character is known to be a minor. See specific rule in red. In the author's own words, this mod changes Yuki's body to make her more...
Okay, let me read what this says in red down here. A person, real or animated, that is indistinguishable from a minor, so look like a minor, or known to be a minor, this is real or animated, that has been modified from their default appearance or behavior in a way that sexualizes them, involves them in a sexual context, or makes them partially or fully nude. These are not allowed. For good reason.
More corpulent. Yeah, and so I do generally agree with this. I think this is the...
So they changed the body shape of a character known to be a minor with this mod, and they're like, nope, can't do that. You're sexualizing them, and they're a minor.
Right call to make. They did make the kid waifus. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's a bit much. It's fucking crazy that people have to be told this in the gaming community. Yukari is a minor. I have no idea if it is or not.
By the way, a reminder, if you're enjoying the video, join the channel. Please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. It helps me out so much. Thank you all.
It's their site, their rules. Yep. So it's okay to post Coomer anime pics of schoolgirls on your Reddit, but you're against Coomer anime mods on the other websites. I think that there's a very big difference between portraying somebody... Like, if you don't understand the difference between an anime character that looks like an adult and an anime character that looks like a 12-year-old...
It's a great discussion here.
That's not really my problem. And stop trying to make it my problem. Every functioning normal adult in this chat knows exactly where the difference is. And nobody has trouble here, right? That has, like, figuring out where the two things are, right? We all get the difference, and you can see very clearly where the difference is? Yes. Let's be clear and stop assuming everybody understands your perspective. Do you guys understand exactly what I'm talking about? Let me ask you.
Yep.
Do you understand exactly what I'm talking about?
And if you look at this chat,
everybody
yep.
Okay.
They're asking Asmund to ban the person standing up for this shit. Yeah. He's gone into already, like, name-calling people and stuff on this. I guess it's a he. It could be a whatever, but yeah, the person.
Yeah, so we all understand what's going on here. There's only a few mentally ill people that are trying to play the intellectually dishonest game of, pretending like this isn't the case. As if teens in real life can't have well-endowed chests. Oh, sure, right? I mean, like, I get what you're saying.
And if you're a teen yourself, I guess you can look at that and that's fine, but not when you're an adult. Nope.
Saying, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that you want to, like, and this is again where the internet logic goes away, and I'm going to explain exactly how it goes away. If you had a daughter that was like that and she was 15 and a grown man said that to her, what would you do?
I'm Canadian, but I would go across the border, buy myself a gun, smuggle it back across, and fucking kill somebody.
Would that make you comfortable, or would that make you want to call the police? So, again, this is internet ethics and internet morality that whenever you apply it to real life, immediately falls apart.
Yep.
Because nobody really believes these arguments. They just make them because they like talking and they like justifying bad behavior.
Unfortunately, it's usually a lot of them, it's because it's their bad behavior, and the others is just because they're trolls. Hopefully, this person was just a troll and being an ass. Hopefully, they're not a predator.
And that's okay. If you want to behave badly or do this stuff, it's not illegal. But at the same time, don't expect everybody else to think that it's, conforming with normal values. It's not normal. How the heck are people arguing for the alternative? They're arguing for the alternative because they've spent their entire life on the internet and they forgot what it's like to be in the real world.
That's
true. You don't have to defend your weird ass fantasies.
Keyboard warriors out there who have no idea what reality actually is.
Life on the internet, and they forgot what it's like to be in the real world. You don't have to defend your weird ass fantasies because everyone has weird ass fantasies. Just don't bring them into real life. Yeah, well, don't try to justify them. Yeah, I think that's really what the difference.
It's not just like don't tell people about your weird ass fantasies. It's more than that. It's some of these fantasies you have are more than just weird ass. They are fucking troubling for all of society if you act on them. So we should be fucking concerned. Yes.
Differences. The argument for it is the images aren't of a real person, but it's still bad because it stimulated interest in things that aren't healthy.
Yep.
I don't understand why people use that argument. Like, obviously,
I agree, though. You don't want to stimulate unhealthy things in your brain. That is not the way you want to go. You want to run away from unhealthy things. And let's be honest, in life, we all stimulate the unhealthy things. We all know, hey, that next slice of pizza is probably going to make me fat, but I'm going to eat it anyways because I want it. We all know that next can of soda, we really don't need it. We know it's full of bad things and sugars and it gives us diabetes. But dang it, we're thirsty and we really want the soda. We're going to have it, right? We all know that we should be going out to the gym, but instead we're going to sit down our lazy ass and watch soap operas because we've always watched this soap opera. Why would I get up now and go to the gym? A small example of things that we always feed what we want to feed. So you got to be very, very careful of what you want to feed. You need to start changing things upstairs and start looking at things differently and start saying to yourself, this is a bad thing. I need to stay away from it. Because if you tell yourself it's a good thing, you ain't staying away from it. You ain't.
I mean, should somebody go to jail for like having a mod like this for underage characters? Like,
if you're on a watch list.
I don't know. Like, probably not. But like, it's just like, isn't there like a gray area where everybody can say this is really fucked up and weird and just acknowledge it without saying this person needs to go to jail? Like, maybe they don't have to go to jail, but it's clearly fucked up and weird.
Haven't done anything yet, but I would want them put on a watch list if that's what they're spending their time with. Sexualizing, teens and children. Yeah, because they're more likely to be involved in that. Doesn't mean they will be, but they're more likely. Because that's what they're fantasizing about. That's what they're giving into. That's what they're focusing their brain on. This is that adult stuff that only makes sense to adults. If you're a 12-year-old watching this, you ain't going to get this.
And about the mod that allows you to kill children in Skyrim?
Pretty reprehensible.
Do we really have to just be honest here and say that killing things is a lot different than sexualizing them?
Yeah.
Especially whenever it's regarding kids?
Yeah.
Like, have you lived in, do you exist in society? If you don't understand that nuance of our society, then you need to get off the computer.
How many times do you hear about children who go missing? Are we really thinking that people are kidnapping children out there or stealing children just so they can kill them? Oh, they just want to kill the children. That's terrible. Most of them do end up dead if they're not recovered pretty quickly, yes, or gone forever, never found, lost somewhere in the system of abused children growing up in far worse abuse than we can ever imagine, somewhere as sex slaves or whatever on somebody's island, doing massages on a plane, right? Most of those children, we all realize up here, we know why they've been taken. People are sexualizing them, or people are selling them to people who will sexualize them. So I don't think the fear so much is people killing children. The fear so much is what they're doing to those children.
Because I think any normal person knows what the difference there is. These are the same people that are just okay accepting that they're fucked up and weird, which isn't okay. Well, no, I mean, people are always going to be fucked up and weird. It's totally fine if you want to be fucked up and weird. Just don't go and get me to try to accept it and tell you that you're a good person for it, right? That's what the difference is. Nexus mod is good for banning these mods then. I think that Nexus mods should not be... I don't think that they should be drawing lines.
I don't think they should be the arbiter of morality. They should not be the judge of what is moral and what isn't, because clearly they're a failure at that anyways. So really what they're doing is taking political stances, which is going to piss off 50% of the people.
On mods in terms of their political viewpoints. I don't think that this is a good idea, and I think it calls into question all of the other mods that are on their websites, and it goes to kind of like, because it creates a point of reference of them saying this isn't okay, but then obviously whenever you say one thing isn't okay, then people are clearly going to ask about all of the other things that are problematic and say, well, then why is this okay?
Yep.
And that's my point that I'm making. It's a failure of culture and mental health services. Yeah, I think it is.
Yep.
Mods that skip text and intro screens are super common, though. It's ridiculous. Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Normies in society think anime is borderline creepy. Well, one of the reasons why they think it's borderline creepy is that it has people in the community that are like some of the individuals in chat that are trying to defend it.
Yeah.
Defend this weird stuff. Would peer review banned or banned on YouTube?
There's plenty of anime out there that's cool. I'm not a huge anime fan, but I've seen some that's pretty neat. I'm into animated stuff. You know, I don't mind animated stuff at all. So that's all cool with me, to the most part. Is there some really weird stuff out there? Yeah. And when I say weird, some of it I just don't understand. Some of it's culturally, I don't understand. Some of it I just don't understand the characters or the stories. Sometimes maybe it's when things are translated from one language to another, I'm missing stuff. And some of it I just have no freaking interest in. And then some of it is downright creepy.
User report ban be banned by the website owner? Well, I think that really it should just be... I think that they should let people do mods on whatever they want. Really. I mean, I think that's the smart thing to do. The only thing I think that they should not allow is like mods that sexualize minors. That's literally the only thing that they should disallow.
I think there's a lot of things, personally, if I were running a mod site, that I would disallow. But I would probably also allow some things that others would be shocked at. So everyone's opinion on those kind of things, everyone's moral stances are going to be different. Yeah. So it's interesting. What should mod sites do then? You're either going to get this, where they're going to take stands on some things and piss people off, or you take the other stance of, we're not going to take a stand on anything, we'll just allow anything, which is what I said at the beginning. Put up your header page, hey, this is an adult site. You can't get on this site, sign up for this site, use this site, download anything from this site without admitting you're 18 or over. Da-da. Bada bing, bada boom, Bob's your uncle. Warning, things here may trigger some. There you go. Done.
And like, I don't know, maybe there's one other thing that I'm not thinking of. But everything else, they should just let people do whatever the fuck they want. Yeah, fair take. It's even weirder. Anime haters are just hating to hate. Well, I mean, I think that that's just people that have a different viewpoint on it. And also, like, there are... I'm going to be real here. I think that there are a lot of anime, like, fans that run defense for sexualizations of characters that they shouldn't be running defense for.
Yep.
I think that stuff is really weird. And just because you like anime, it doesn't mean that you have to defend that kind of anime. Like, you can enjoy anime. Like, I think anime is great, but I also think that some of it is really weird. And there's even animes that I've watched that have had that in it. And I might have enjoyed the anime despite that. But that doesn't mean that, like, if somebody calls that out, I'm going to say, oh, yeah, this is a good thing. Huh? Well, I'll give you an example. Like, so I watched the Cyberpunk anime, and they had that little character, that Rebecca Lolly character that gave the guy a blowjob. She looks like she's 8 or 7 years old.
Good
That's
point.
weird. Like, I wish
the
story didn't have that. The story would have been better without having that. It's an anime. Yeah, it is.
It would have been better if they made her look more like an adult. I understand she was supposed to be. Actually, I don't really know how old she's supposed to be, but yeah, she acted like about 15, 16, but she looked more like about 11, 12, 13. And yeah, sexualizing that is actually pretty disturbing. Come to think of it, I'd forgotten all about that.
She's just small. She looks like a little kid. Yes, she does. She looks like a little kid.
Yeah, she does.
I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, she does. And if guys, I don't want to go and argue about this one.
Reminds me of the movie, and it's not an animated movie, but the movie Kick-Ass, right? Where you've got Hit Girl. And she's a, I don't know, 11-year-old girl who dresses like a vigilante, carries big guns, and runs around and kills people quite viciously. But I will say this, I don't remember her being sexualized in the show. She definitely acted like an adult assassin, yes. And she was definitely a small girl, yes. But I don't recall anything in that movie sexualizing her. That I can recall. I don't think there was anything. Trying to think about the sequel for Kick-Ass 2. She was older in that. I don't recall. Maybe that was no longer an issue even. I haven't read all the comics for Kick-Ass, so maybe there's Hit Girl comics and stuff where maybe they're doing things that I wouldn't approve of, but I haven't seen them, so I don't know. But I'm just going by the movie, right? So there you've got a small girl character with guns who is vicious and whatever, just like this girl in the Cyberpunk series, the Edge Runners, right? But the difference is there is nothing sexualized. That's where they went over the line.
Character, okay? Like, I'm not going to go back and forth about this. If you don't think that she does, that's fine. We can use 50 other examples that are worse, right? So, but I'm just giving you an example of something that I saw in the show that I'm making an example of. This is like, it's a line that I have. Obviously, every line is kind of the same, or is going to be different for everybody, but, isn't the same. The point of it was to make her look like a little kid because lots of weirdos get off on that shit. And that's really what the problem is.
Yep.
And I think that more people that are fans of anime should probably stop trying to defend this kind of stuff.
So, again, the point was to make her look like a little kid because lots of weirdos out there get off on that shit. I think that's the problem right there. Problem is, A, lots of weirdos get off on that shit. And the problem is, B, they played into it by making her look young like that for those weirdos. That's terrible. That's not the way to do things. That's not the way to protect our children. That's not the way to be smart about this.
Because I think that's really what's going on here. Is that I think that they're clearly doing it on purpose.
Yeah, I agree.
I do. I think it is that simple. Japan historically has a big problem with minors being sexualized. Japan's sick for a lot of stuff.
That's just racist.
I don't think that's a problem with Japan.
That's
I
just
think
racist.
That if you go, I would say far enough back, but you really don't have to go very far back. You would see that this has been a problem for a lot of places in the world, including America.
Yeah.
Like, this is a problem everywhere. I don't think Japan has a monopoly on that. Fuck, like, everywhere does this shit. Like, Africa does this. I mean, I remember even my mom, like...
Your mom does this?
Oh, no. She said that growing up, and this is in, like, growing up in the deep South Florida, people around in, like, where she lived had a saying, get her young and raise her up right. about getting a wife.
See what they're suggesting there. Yeah.
So no, Japan doesn't have a monopoly on this.
That's
Howard
pretty
Stern
gross.
did a countdown timer on like when the Olsen twins were going to turn 18. And that was like, what, 15 years ago? Something like that? That's what I'm saying.
So what was that timer for? So you could start sexualizing them, you know, feel okay about it after having done so for years before that? Yeah. Like, I don't like when, like, teenagers and children get modeling contracts and they're sexualizing them in the photos and in the shoots, and that is so fucking wrong. People, we opened up a large can of worms, but in my opinion, sometimes this stuff just needs to be dragged out to light, kicking and screaming, so we can observe it. Things out in the dark are scary, and they grow and they get bigger when we don't go into the dark to deal with it. So you go in there, you drag it back out into the light, and you look at it like lying there twisting and screaming and gargling and trying to make sense of itself, but trying to convince you it's something entirely different than what it is. And then you stomp on it. That's a little bit what we're doing here. I encourage you to get involved in the discussions. I do encourage you that if this becomes an argument in the discussions, remain calm. Don't cross any lines with what you say. Be careful. You can be blunt, but be careful. Let's not get into the kind of discussions that I'm going to have to ban out of here. But I want to have this to be an open discussion about this. First of all, about mod sites and what do they do and do not allow on their sites. What do you think about that? Second of all, sexualization of children. How do you feel about that? How does it work for you in anime? If you're an anime fan, when you see things that are sexualizing underage children, you just ignore it? Are you a big fan of it? Let me know. I think this could be interesting discussions. We'll see. But again, I think this is something I felt you and I need to talk about. For Miss Valley Entertainment News, my name is Dredd. Be vigilant. Be vigilant out there. Good night.